Hey everyone, in the last video, we explored how to detect land in real time for our autonomous car simulation. Today, we were taking things to the next level by figuring out how our car can intelligently navigate from its current position to the target, avoiding any obstacles along the way. Imagine being able to guide a car through a maze automatically. Exciting, right? Well, this is exactly what we will achieve using one of the most powerful pathfinding algorithms out there, A star algorithm. Let's dive into it. First, let's understand the challenge. Our car needs to navigate from point A, the current position, to the point B, the target. This needs to happen in real time, and if the car encounters any obstacle, it must quickly find a new path around it. This is where the A star algorithm shines. It not only finds the shortest path, but it does so efficiently, balancing speed and accuracy. Perfect for scenarios like games, maps, and robotics. But the question is, why use A star when there are other pathfinding algorithms? A star is special because it combines two smart strategies. It looks at how far you have traveled so far, which is the actual cost, and it also estimates how close you are to the goal. Estimated cost, also known as heuristic cost. So A star combines two costs to find the best path without taking unnecessary detours or going backward. Here's an easy way to picture it. Imagine you are a mouse in a maze and there is a slice of a cheese at the end. As you move through the cheese, you can smell the cheese. The stronger the smell, the closer you are. If you start moving in the wrong direction, the smell weakens, guiding you back to the right path. A star works similarly. It calculates the shortest path to the cheese by constantly updating its smell intensity. In other words, the heuristic cost. So even if the mouse makes a wrong turn, it won't go too far, of course, and every time you can make smart decision by including heuristic cost. In the previous video, we saw how to convert our canvas into a grid-like structure with rows and columns. Now that we have the grid, today's challenge is to figure out how to move from one pixel to another. But here's the catch. Some pixels are blocked by the walls. These are represented as black cells and our car can't move through them. The goal is simple. We want to get from one pixel to another in minimal cost. Firstly, we can only move up, down, left and right. No diagonals, as that would cross lanes in an unauthorized way. Since our car consists of multiple pixels, we will aim to keep a safe distance from the wall pixels to avoid collisions. In the previous video, we created a pixel object with properties x, y, wall and the pixel side. For each cell, now we will add the f, g, h scores also. F is the total cost, g is the actual cost and h is the heuristic cost. We also add a previous property which help us backtrack through the path when finding the route from the start to the end. Next, we will introduce a neighbors property that holds up all the neighboring cells for a given pixel. As discussed earlier, we will only include the top, bottom, left and right cells as the neighbors. Additionally, we will add a boundary property also that contains all the cells surrounding a pixel. The size of the boundary is flexible. In this case, I have chosen a 5x5 boundary, but the size should be based on your car dimension. This boundary property will help us to determine whether any part of the car collides with the wall pixel when it reaches to a particular pixel. We will also implement a boundary has wall function that iterates over all the pixels in the boundary of a given pixel. If any pixel has its wall property set to true, it means that the part of the car will collide with the wall and the car cannot move to that particular pixel. In the grid class, we will add two functions, add neighbors and add boundary. This function will help us to populate the neighbors and the boundary properties for each pixel. Now let's create the function which return the path from the start to the end pixel. First, we will start by defining the function getPath, which take two arguments, current position and the target. Current position, this is where you are right now, like your starting point, and the target, this is where you want to go, the end point. After that, we will find the start and the end pixel on the grid. For finding the start pixel, we takes your current position and finds the matching grid cell. For the end, we do the same thing but with the target position. We divide the position by the pixel side to convert it into the grid index, since positions are based on the pixel size. After that, we create list to track progress. Open set, this is the list of pixels we still need to check. Close set, this is the list of pixels we have already checked. Path, this is where we store the final path once we find it. Now let's start the search. We add the start pixel to the open set so that the function knows where to begin searching. We set start.previous to undefined because there is no previous step when you are at the starting point. Now the main loop begins, which states that keep searching until you find the target. As long as there are places left to check, keep looping. After that, we first find the pixel with the lowest cost. This loop finds the pixel in the open set that has the lowest f value. The f value is the total estimated cost to get to the target. It's calculated by adding G and H. If the current pixel is same as the target, we have found the path and we can stop the searching. We go backward from the target to the start using the previous pointers we set along the way. Each current pixel tells us where it came from, which help us build the path. We remove the current pixel from the open set because we have already checked it, and we add it to the close set so that we don't check it again. We go through each of the current pixel neighbors up, down, left and right. If the neighbor has already been checked, or it's blocked by the wall, or has a wall nearby, we will skip it. If the neighbor has passed all of the three conditions, we will find out the tentative G-score. This is how far it would take to get to this neighbor from the start, based on the current pixel distance. Here's where things got interesting. Let's say neighbor is already present in our open set. Should we ignore it? Nope. If the new tentative final score is lower than what we have already calculated for that neighbor, we update the score. Why? Because there might be multiple paths to a pixel, and we always want the one with the least cost. So if the neighbor is already present in the open set, then we update its tentative final score. And if our neighbor is not present in the open set, then anyway we have to add it in our open set. So in both cases we calculate the G score, H score and F score. Also we set the neighbor's previous pointer to the current pixel so that we know how we got to this neighbor. Once we have found the path, we return it so that it can be used somewhere else. This is how our A-style algorithm helps us to find the path in real time. If any pixel becomes a wall, we can call the getPath function again and it will return an updated path. That's all for this video guys. So far we have covered the lane detection, allowing us to check which pixel the car can move on. Based on this 2D map, we then find the shortest path from the current position to the target. Once we have this path, we will navigate the car automatically, and we will cover the navigation in the next video. Until then, try coding this on your own, and if you have any doubts, feel free to leave a comment or reach out to me on Discord. That's all for this video guys. Thank you, take care and goodbye.